what we're doing here now is an activity that we call, like, it's basically a resume review. And what we're trying to do is, again, this is further going into that mindset of trying to understand an employer's perspective. So again, the principle we're using here is to understand how the process works and the fact that there's different people with different ideas. So what we've done is we say we're going to basically create little small hiring committees. And each group is going to get some resumes. I'll typically say, okay, I'm going to give you about a minute or two to just quickly review the 3 resumes you have. I always tell people, don't write in them if you want these back, but just quickly review them to get a sense of what they have, rankings of which one you think is best, second, third, discuss them in the group. Okay? I'll typically break the room up into smaller groups. You want to, have, and so in each group you can have anywhere from 3 to 5 people. Your job, we're going to give you 2 minutes to reach consensus on who's number 1, who's number 2, and who's number 3. So not only do you have, as a group, to reach consensus on the order, you also have to then be able to explain why your number 1 is number 1, why your number 2 is number 2, why your number 3 is number 3. To some degree, we actually don't want people to reach consensus, right? We want there to be some disagreement. So if you get a sense that everyone's getting to agreement really fast, you can start cutting off the time. Because we want at least one group or a couple of groups where there's not consensus. As well, if there is consensus in a group, you're also hoping that at least one group might choose one person number 1 and another person number 2. Because remember, the goal of this activity is not to see who can identify the best resume. The goal of this activity is to highlight that people react differently. This further highlights that people respond to different resumes differently. So we always say different people like different things. Hopefully what this activity will do will demonstrate that because of what people will like. At the same time, in the explaining why this one's number 1, this one's number 2, in defending your position, it forces you to think about more what it is you like. So again, it causes you to understand the issues better, hopefully, some of the format and content, as well as hearing other people's critiques. So hearing how other people react, both in terms of when they agree with you and when they disagree with you, can be a really useful part of the learning. Okay? So even though we set this up as that we want people to reach consensus, and it looks like activities where there's a right answer, we actually want disagreement, because that's where it's actually going to be much more interesting and there's more learning involved. So again, I give it to the group. We're going to give you a couple minutes to please reach consensus, and I'll let you know when time is up. Sometimes people ask me questions like, oh, I noticed this is something, that's not a good idea, right? Again, your response is go discuss it with your group, right? Because again, anything you say could influence how they respond. And again, we want them to initially trust their own instincts and just discuss amongst themselves and actually hopefully have a bit of a debate.